Yes.
Great. So just briefly about what we have discussed yesterday, we started with the first domain, data governance domain. And the most important thing here in this domain is to assign rules and responsibilities and document that. And everyone included within the data management are aware of their rules and responsibility. Maybe the most two important here rule I want to emphasize are the business data executives and business data stewards. For these two rules, we will have more than one data stewards and more than one data executives. From each department, we will have two. Suppose we have, for example, 5 departments. That means we will need 5 data executives, 5 data stewards. Who are the data executives? As explained yesterday, they are the head of the, they can be the head or the manager of that department. For the data stewards, they will be employees within that department. Along with other also documentation here should be developed for the data governance, such as the compliance framework. For the data quality, also we discussed that domain, and the most important thing here is to ensure that the data is with high quality. How? By defining rules based on the data quality dimensions. And based on the defined rules, assessment should be conducted to identify any issue. The main issues that can be identified, it can be either identified by any data user that is conducting the daily task, the daily operation. He can conduct any issue. Also, issues can be identified during the SDLC process. Also, issues can be identified during conducting the data quality rules checklist assessment. Whatever issues are identified, these issues should be documented, shared with the data management office, implement remediation plan to close that issues should be also developed and executed. Okay, for the document and content management domain, this is the last domain we discussed yesterday. Mainly as we said, document is will play as a container that include any kind of data. That means document, it's not only book, it's not only files, but also it could be USB, hardware, PDF, document, any container that include content. And to facilitate the management for document and content, there are document management systems, tools that facilitate the management of such documents. The basic, let's say, document management system are the SharePoint. If you work with SharePoint or Google, they have this OneDrive on Google. So you will be familiar with what is the document management system. So briefly, we will check the specification of that document, of that, sorry, domain. Okay, here. So these are the, before starting with this specification, do you have any comment, question or anything regarding the previous domain? Anything do you want me to elaborate more? Okay, so I hope now it's clear. For the document and content management, as usual, any domain, we will create the plan. Yes, in this domain, by the way, the NDMO focus on digitizing the paper document and make everything instead of having papers and this stuff, they want to move it to digitization or digital format. Okay, so in this regard, like in order to, because like when you start this domain, like implementing this domain in any organization or with any client, you should collect or know exactly if they have paper document or not. And the best way to do it, of course, along with asking them, discussing if they have archival unit or not, is like either to put it in a key process inventory. Either you will for sure you will check if they have a process inventory in which they inventory all their processes along with other metadata such as the input output for each process. Also, you can add some questions regarding if this process involved like developing a document in paper format. By that, you will be able to let's say inventory whether they have it or not from each department for sure. And if they have archival unit, I believe the matter here will be more easier because they will already be able to inform you whether they have paper document and what are the process they are using to let's say to manage paper document. So for the document prioritization, how we can prioritize document, like it could be like sometimes difficult because each process will develop some kind of data and this stuff. So the easiest way to prioritize the documents is to prioritize the processes itself. If you know, okay, this process from this department, it's, for example, critical. That means the input or the output from that process also will convey the same priority level. By that, we will have a prioritization list for the document. Yes, here the policy, I think it's clear also, document and content management training. This specification require to provide training and awareness to employees about two aspects. First, about the general policies and documents, the policies and documentation about the document and content management domain, and also the tool, if they are willing to purchase document management system such as SharePoint or any system. They also should aware employees on how to use that particular system, so they can be involved, and instead of using the old methods of in managing document, they can use that system. Backup and recovery. Here, this specification is mainly focused on adding the document management system if they will purchase it in their overall backup and recovery plan. So if they don't have this system, that means this specification will remain not compliant. For the retention and disposal, also, this is you need to check first if they have archival unit, how they archive their documents, and based on that, you will get the best idea on how to implement this, because they might already have retention and disposal period in which they define, okay, this kind of data should be kept for 5 years, then move to the archival unit. They don't have any practice, that means you will need to create one. And here in Saudi Arabia, they have this archival center. This is the government entity. And this archival center already publish retention and disposal periods for different kind of data. Also, you can be aligned with that center. For the document,
is there a
yeah.
Is there a PDF for that? For
Yes.
Which type of data should have which retention period?
Yeah, there is, but in Arabic. But remember, like Zahir, we already developed an Excel sheet. Let me try to find it. Now, there is an Excel sheet. We already like do the translation for that, and already like make it formal.
Okay.
Let me check it. I believe we have it. Let me also present it for other. Yes, this one. Let me reshare. Okay, we have worked on this like earlier with the team. So this is from the National Center for Documents and Archives. This is like entity here in Saudi Arabia. The original like document, as I said, in PDF Arabic, but this is the English format for it. And this is the retention.
Okay, can you please share this on the group after the meeting?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Then, of course, like if the client has, for example, another retention period for another type of document and this stuff, it can be also updated and added. At the end, like they should be aware, or they should know for each data how long should be kept and when it should be disposed. For this specification, document and content access approval, document and content metadata publishing, both are like required tool in order to be able to complete this specification. Okay, documents and content management tool. Okay, this is like mainly focused on the tool itself. What should include in that tool? And as I told you, like SharePoint is simplest one for it. Of course, there are like more like other systems with more features, with more capabilities from other also vendors. Here also they have NDMO defined some KPIs to measure the progress for this document, for this domain. Like some of the KPIs cannot be measured unless we have this document management system. Yes, this is the end of this domain. Do you have any question about it, any specification that's were not clear? Hadiqa, Sadia is clear. Sophia? Aman?
Yes, it's clear.
Perfect. So we can start like with today domain. So today we will discuss data classification domain. This domain includes like 10 specification and mainly like focus on categorize, like first inventorying all data within from each department, then categorize that based on the classification level defined by NDMO. So let's go like through the process and see how data can be classified. Okay. So the first step in data classification process is to identify the data from each department. And here will be the responsibility of, remember when we said like we need data stewards from each department, this is their role here. They will be the point of contact, the one responsible for identifying the data within their department. Okay. Once the data is identified in an Excel sheet, in whatever like format they want, if they have a tool, or it can be like manually, then they should conduct the impact assessment. And this is important, conduct the impact assessment, because this is one of the specification like required by NDMO. What is impact assessment? That means I will I identify the impact on 4 categories. First, I will ask myself, like, what is the negative impact that will happen on KSA, on client, on individual, or in environment, in case this particular data is published like accidentally, or any unauthorized access has been done on it. And that like could be, for example, the impact could be, for example, high, could be medium, it could be low, it could be none. It could be like there is no impact on that. And based on the highest level here, the classification will be assigned. For example, if the impact on KSA is, for example, let's say we have this employees performance report. If this performance report has been disclosed to public like accidentally, by accident. So is there any impact on KSA? Mostly like no, there will be no impact. On client, yes, maybe it could be low. Individual could be low. Environment, and we mean here by the environment, by the way, it's the natural, like the land, on the like general like environment of the country, not the business environment. It could be also low. That means the highest here classification is confidential. Then for like the confidential and public data, we should also conduct re-impact assessment to check if the confidential data can be made public, or if the public data can be made confidential. This is only to ensure that we're not like by mistake we categorize the data like confidential while it can be public, or by mistake we make it public while it should not be public, it should be confidential. So this step only for the confirmation. Of course, there will be also review data classification from time to time. It could be monthly, it could be like each quarterly, or each 6 months. Each time you will review the classification, you should also document that to show that there is like review from time to time. So this is the general process for classification. Let's go and check the inventory. Again, depends on the client desire, or how they like inventory their data. We will go based on what they are like doing. But like, let's say this is like typical one, which is to have it in Excel sheet, like in simplest format. So in this column, the data will be inventory. Any data that is within each department will be listed here. A brief description about it, just to understand what is this data. Then data owner and custodian also will be defined, the departments that are involving, or let's say developing, or establishing this data. Then the application that store this data. Some keywords used to find this data, and how often like it's been updated. Here also, this is an important one, the privacy part, just to ensure if this particular data include any person data or not. Because if yes, that means we will have like more control in it. The security of that like data should be more unlike like other data. Here, the impact assessment, as we just discussed, you need to conduct the impact assessment for each like category on case A, on the client, on employees or individual or data subject if this data include a personal data, and also on the environment. And the highest level of this categorization will be the final classification level. So in my example, like this employees performance report, suppose that the HR, like this is usually under HR, okay? Suppose that the HR categorize this or classify this as none. Like he said, like, okay, there is no impact on KSA. And also there is no impact on client. That's fine. Like there is, because this report doesn't include, for example, sensitive data or any personal data about that employee. And same thing for the employees, same thing for the none. See here, the final classification is public. That means this data, which is the employees performance report, can be made public. Okay. So now, the data management office, as we said, like they should conduct a reassessment for both public and confidential data. Like they should review what other departments has been classified. It's not the case, okay, this department classified this, okay, that means they are correct. No, another review should be conducted. So the data management office now will review this classification and will give their let's say feedback. So I believe if I was one of the data management officer, I will increase this level to at least low. Why? Because it has negative impact on the employees or in the client. Because if this employees performance report has been published or disclosed, that means if it's included, for example, bad or negative performance of employees, this could negatively impact the client itself, right? They will say, okay, many employees with many like low score or etc. That means the environment there, it's not good. It's not like prepared for the employees. There's no good environment for employees to work, right? So it could be like a negative impact on them. At least we increase it to low. We will not change this, by the way. We will not change it because this is from the original one. So here we will say yes. Would the disclosure flow and or non-impact data conflict with existing law or could make any issue? Yes. We will put some reason that might affect the reputation of the client entity because most of the employees with let's say low score performance. So the final classification here will be confidential. That means this data cannot be made public. At least it should be internal, confidential.
Soha, so one question
Yes.
is that all the data inventories, they are filled by each department, right?
Yes, stewards.
Okay. Then it goes to the data management officer, right? And the data management officer
Yes.
review it. Let's suppose if this
Yes.
the same thing, let's suppose employee performance report, some other department, they categorize it confidential, and HR is categorizing public, and some other department they are categorizing secret.
Yeah.
So it's depend it the final decision will be will be who will be responsible for the final decision? Data management officer will decide
Great.
that. Okay, so all the inventories will be at the one place by the data management officer, and then he will decide it by combining all the inventories at one place, right?
Great question, Sadia. To be honest, like, see, for the data itself, we should know who is the owner for it. I like, for example, the the employees performance report. This is like usually under HR, even if other departments has or may have this report in their like department, but at the end they are not the owner. The owner will be like the data under HR. That means me, as for example, as finance department, I will list it. Okay, we'll say I receive, for example, some employees performance report, right? I have it in my department, but I'm not the owner.
Okay.
So I'll just list it here, make the owner, who's the owner, and I'll make my, like, what is my responsibility in this regard. For example, I have it because, for example, to check some employees, blah, 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 but I'm not responsible for any change or managing that. At the end, like, each data should be owned by one department, and he is responsible for classifying that. And as you said, it will the main effort will be on the data management officer, because he will collect, he will, let's say, filter this list, correct some data, and assign it to its proper owner.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
Makes sense?
Yes. What's the difference? Sorry, what's the difference between data custodian and data owner? Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So the data owner, like, usually, let's say, the head of that department that own the data, and custodian, the employees within that a department, or also it could be from other departments that use this data, but they don't have the, let's say, the final decision on what should be done for that data.
Okay. Okay.
But they manage
Like
it. They manage it. They use it.
Like if a performance report is like basically it's owned by HR, but if some other
Yes.
department has this, then they are the custodians, right?
The custodian for it, yes. And it also could be HR employees. HR employees can be the custodian because they manage the data on behalf of the data owner.
Okay.
Based on the data owner, like, direction.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
Sure. This is like a general overview of the inventory, data inventory. We will come back to this part, but later. Is it clear for data classification?
Yes, clear.
Okay, so we can move to the specification. Like, if you understand the process and the inventory, this specification will be just easy because it's the same. Data classification prioritization, that means you should list your data, and then, sorry, for this data classification prioritization, that means what is the entity plan in prioritizing their data? Like, the data management office, is he willing to start this process or activity at the same time with all departments, or he will divide it into like steps or phases? Okay, I will start with 3 departments, the most important one, then start with the second phase, and etc. So this is a plan that, like, it depends on the data management officer and the situation within the entity. For the security controls, yes, we cannot assign security controls. We can say, okay, we will implement encryption, we will implement like DRM or anything, unless we inventory our data. After we inventory the data, classify it, know exactly what the top secret data, then we can apply security controls. And here, like NDMO doesn't specify any control for the security part. They make it under NCA. NCA, SAMA, they convey the same same controls. So if they are compliant either with NCA or SAMA, that means most of the security controls are implemented. Plus, by NCA, they specifically issue data DCC, which is data cybersecurity controls. This is like specifically for data. They have list the controls based on the data type. Let's go through it. Just in general, I want you to see how NCA define the controls based on the classification. Okay. Yes, this one. This is the PDF from NCA Data Cybersecurity Controls DCC. Go down. See, for each domain, for example, cybersecurity governance, this control, and here the classification. And based on the classification, they said, okay, they give more details or more categorization. For example, for the top secret and secret, it's more restricted controls, while in public and confidential, it's more like there is more lineage. Same thing here, see, for some controls, it will not be applicable on, for example, public confidential, while it will be must and mandatory for other type of data. Okay, so this is the security part. Moving to data identification specification, this is the same thing we said, that the entity should identify their data and list it. Then they should conduct impact assessment on the 4 categories, like on KSA, on the client itself, on the employees, individual, and on the environment. And based on the highest level, this will be the final classification level. Then another assessment should be done for the low impact. When we say low impact, that means the confidential. Any data that has been classified as confidential, we should conduct another assessment to see, can we make this low impact data public, or no, it should be kept within the entity. This is the reassessment in general. Data classification review. Yes, you should review your the classification from time to time, because data might be now for example, some studies now can be top secret or secret classification, but after 3-4 months after we publish this study and become public to the to normal user or made public in the website or whatever, the level of the classification will move from top secret to public, and vice versa. If public data can be also the classification of that data can be also made, or by time can be top secret or secret. Yes, I skipped this. Data classification metadata. Yes, any specification here in this document regarding the metadata, this will be published in the data catalog. This is also another domain. We will come to it, inshallah, and explain it. But again, this specification would require some tools. Yes, here also NDMO has defined some KPIs to measure the progress of this domain. The data register, it's mainly like the inventory that we just presented. That include the list of the data set, their classification, the date of the review, and also any decision that has been done regarding the classification. Okay, so this is the end of data classification domain. Clear, inshallah? Do you have any question, or just should we move? Sadia, is it clear to you?
Yes,
Sophia?
Yes.
Perfect. So the second one, yeah, open data domain. And this domain includes 10 specification, and its focus or it's about like the data that could be made available and public for free to anyone. What are the open data like can be made public? Maybe you noticed in some of the websites they publish the law and the regulations and some instructions from the regulatory decision that like they should comply with. It's only part of the knowledge, okay, and also service and description. This can be assigned as open data. That means me as like public person can access any website and check their services and what are these services without the need to ask them like specifically. Also organization structure, this is example of open data. Job vacancy information, most of the like let's say entities, government entities, also insurance company, they publish the job vacancy in their website. Annual strategic reports, financial statement, that also can be example of open data. That means that's fine to be to make these data public, and there will be no impact on KSA or on the client itself or employees or on the environment. Let's go to the inventory again and see. Yes, this one. So when I say it's open data, when the final classification is public. If the final classification is public, that means this is an open data. It's confidential, top secret, no. That means this data should be restricted and cannot be shared and made publicly. For the open data, so for the open data, as we said, like again, like for any confidential data should be like a reassessment should be conducted to check if this confidential data can be made public or not. If yes, fine, it can be public. If there is no impact, no harm on any entities, that's perfect. Now, one of the like NDMO specification is to prioritize the open data. Why? Because this open data will be published. Okay, and the entity might have many open data, right? So in order to ensure that the publishing of open data is systematically and it's accurate and like all the published data is complete and in a good format, they should ask themselves some questions in order to see what are the first set that can be published, or okay, this is open data, but we need to make some improvement on it. We need to increase the quality of that data, then we publish it. So it's not the case, okay, I have open public data, that means, okay, let's go and put it in the website. No, the accuracy and completeness and it should be up to date of the data should be ensured. Quickly go to the specification. One of the specification is to make or to present some awareness and training to the employees, to aware them about what can be like example about open data, what is the format that we should like publish the open data, and that it should include or it should have or it should be, sorry, with high quality. So here, open data identification and process, this is like similar to what we have explained in the classification, because it's linked to the classification domain. Yes, open data format. For any published open data, the entity should like assign or make it public in a machine readable format, and make it like easy for anyone to access that data and download it and use it. If any let's say format has been published, for example CSV file or JSON or whatever, they should also include some instruction and information on how to use this file for a normal user. Open data maintenance, yes. So after publishing the data, it's not the case I publish data and that's it. I should also review the published data and ensure, because from time to time, some data can be updated. In this case, I need to replace it. So this is part of the maintenance. Yes, also the KPIs here, the NDMO defines some KPIs. Okay, and open data register, this is for the published data, like whatever data that has been published and make public, it should be like listed in a register. Okay, this data is published on this date. This is the responsible department. And also we can add the maintenance or the second phase, second, let's say, round of reviewing, to ensure that the data is kept updated. Yes, so this is the end of the open data. Is it clear?
Yes, it is clear.
Perfect. So last thing, domain and today is freedom of information. Freedom of information include 9 specification, and it's like mainly on providing access to information or data that has been or that is not publicly available. And we will like explain now like what we mean. We go to the process. Okay, so let's agree that freedom of information is part of this open data, and like it's open data. It's data that can be published, but for any reason the entity didn't publish it. Okay, and this domain allow or give permission or give the means to any user or any individual to go and ask for this data. So suppose me as individual, I want to access any data from company A. Okay, I go to the website, I search for this information, but I didn't find it. So I directly ask them to provide me with that data. First, I will need to, so this depends on the, the entity. Either they have this public information request form published in their website. So I directly go and fill that form, or they can put it in, make some announcement or anything that inform individuals that they can ask for any data. Like any way that I will fill this form, the form will be sent to the company data management office. Okay, then the data management office will review this request, then share it with the responsible business data executive and stewards. Based on the request, like what is this type of data, from which department we can acquire it, then we can forward it to the appropriate department. And like the entity, data management office, and also this department has only 30 days to respond to my request. What are the let's say the decision that can be made for this request? Either they will grant, they will give me the data, or they will deny, or they will extend, they will send me a message saying we need more time to process this request. Okay, in either ways, I should be informed as individual. I should be informed about their decision. For the deny, they should let me know why they have denied my refused my request, for what reason. If they extend, they should inform me, okay, we will extend it, for example, or we need, for example, extra 15 days to process this request. For grant, if they approve it, here the entity has the right to take fees from the individual. Why? Because they spend time and effort on processing this request. And they will say, okay, we can give you the data, but you should pay this fees. Okay. Then yes. Okay. Either here we will have it either that the request will be they will pay the cost, and then they will give the data, and that's it. If they in case of the deny, this is in case of the approval, it will go smoothly. Fine, we process your request. This is the fees. Please pay it. I will pay it. Then they will give me the data. In case if there is deny, we refuse. Okay, we say, okay, we cannot give you this data because, for example, top secret, for any reason. I have the right to appeal this decision. I have the right to say, okay, no, I think you should provide me with that data. Okay. So if I appeal this request and I disagree with their decision, again, this request will be open again by the data management office. They will process it. They will reconsider their decision, and if they decide to grant it, fine. They should let me know about the fees, and the normal process will move on. If they denied, that means the process will end, and the requester will be informed. Okay. So it's not the case that when receiving the public information request, that means I need to provide the requester or individual with the data, because sometimes they might request data that is top secret or secret, cannot be published, cannot be made public. And by the way, sometimes the requested data, it's already available. It's already available, but maybe the requester doesn't know where. So in this case, like the data management office can guide them where to find this data. And if it's the data, it's already exists in public, in this case, there will be no fees. It will be for free because it's already published. But if they will need to process the request and made some changes to this data to make it with more quality, more presentable, yes, they can put fees on that request. So is it clear? Or do you think like there is confusion between this and open data?
It's fine for me.
Perfect. So like to just like to make things together instead of maybe like in future you might get confused because open data and freedom of information it might be overlapped. For the open data, it's the data that is made available and already you can check it like from the public, and it's free without any restriction. For the freedom of information, no, you need to request for the data from like individual can request the data, and based on their request and type the data, either the request can be approved or denied. The purpose of open data and freedom of information, like both to make transparency, innovation, and public engagement, they convey the same like purpose. The access for open data, it's already published, but for the freedom of information, no, you should request that. Both should be in machine readable format. If they go with other like not like a common format, they should provide with instruction to the requester or to the individual to know how to use that format. And the benefit for it, it's to increase innovation, economic growth for the open data, because the more open data they publish, the entity, the more they will make their present in internet. For the challenges, maybe for open data, the data quality standardization, they should make their data like complete with high quality. The challenges with the freedom of information is the processing request. Maybe they because the request should be processed by the relevant department, and if there is any effort or extra effort, they should also put some fees on that.
So how can you give me the example of freedom of information? Like you have given the examples of open data, like financial statements and other things, but what type of the information and freedom of information? Like, can you give me?
Yes.
Can you any example of it?
Exactly. Sure. So freedom of information. Let me tell you this. If you go here, freedom of information, it's open data, by the way. It's open data. It's same as the open data example will be used here. But as I told you, like the only difference that you need to request it. That's it. If it's not available. So what like information I can request? For example, I can request some details about the services that provided by company A. I need to know like more details about the service and this stuff. Maybe they didn't make it publish.
So why
I have the right to request them.
Why there's a need to have a other domain? Like if it's open data,
Yes.
then why they are mentioning it in another domain, and they are specifying the requirements and other things like specifications.
This is a plus
so
for
the-
individuals. Like they encourage individuals to request and make things transparent. Like this is only to allow or to make them like encouraged to go and ask for any data.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
I know it
Okay.
seems like confusing.
Yes,
But
a little bit.
it's only to give them, yes, the comfortable to ask, to go and ask.
Okay, from
So-
auditor perspective, like what the evidence they need to check against this thing, like you have to provide the evidence against this thing. So what type of the evidence you provided in this case?
In which case you mean, like for requesting or in general for this
Yeah.
domain?
For in general for this domain.
Okay,
It
so
will
let's
be
agree
the same
first.
for the open information, open data. It will be the same evidences, or it will be the different one.
It will be like slightly different. So let's
Okay,
agree that
okay.
the more open data you publish, the less freedom of information request you will receive.
Yes. Okay. Got it. Okay. Got the point.
Okay. So what is the evidences? The evidence that you should be prepared for the freedom of information process. Like you should have a prepared process in case if anyone wants to ask. So your forms are ready, the register ready, the employees
Okay.
know how to process that. But it's like you're as a company, you cannot. No one can blame you if you don't have any request because no one asks you.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. I got the idea.
So yes, let's go through the specification as we have done for other domain also. For freedom of information, they also require to have awareness, to aware the involved. Like mostly this is will be the awareness will be for the business executive and stewards because they are the one like involved in processing the request. Of course, it can be given to all employees, but like it should be these two like rules should be fully aware of this process. Also, your process should be like ready on how to request the information, the forms. You should also not ready, but also you should implement this process. The developed forms and this stuff should be available for the individuals to be used in case they want to request. Public entity publication here, they list what open data can be published, yes, published either in the website or in any like platform. The most important thing that to make things easy for individuals to go and check that data. Yes, this is the access request form that will be filled by the requester. And here, information fees determination. Remember when we said for each request, if they will approve this request and provide the data, as entity, as company, they are allowed to like put some fees on this request, and the requester should pay it first. Compliance monitoring, that means for this specification and any like controls, you should keep tracking them and monitoring the compliance level. Yes, for the freedom of information register, for any like freedom of information request, you should like register that, listed, inventory, and keep tracking of okay, whether this request has been approved, denied, the fees has been paid or not. Does the requester appeal the decision or not? like it's a normal register. Yes, the most important thing I just also want to emphasize is for data classification, open data, and freedom of information, these three domains, NDMO already published some policies about it. So when you like implement this with any company like or entity, you should also go back here to this document. It's named National Data Governance Policies, and align the documentation developed for these three domains with the policies mentioned here. Okay, so this document like give you like more details, more policies about data classification, open data, and freedom of information. Okay, they mentioned some principles. They detailed the process, by the way. You know, the same process that I explained, it's already mentioned also here, similar to what's mentioned here. Okay, so is it clear? This is the end of today's session. If you have any question, anything that's not doesn't make sense, let's discuss it. That's fine.
Soha, I just have one question.
Yes,
What
please.
if everything is available publicly and there is nothing to like request or ask? Then will these controls under freedom of information will be not applicable?
I would prefer to say it's not applicable, but it's like you will say compliant, because at the end you don't know whether you have made everything public or not. Like me as individual, I might ask for something that's not published. So it's better to have your processes in place. You're ready. It's not the case if you don't have any request that means it's not, you are not compliant. No, if you don't have any request, if you didn't receive it, that's fine. But at least you are prepared.
No, but if the company or the organization says that there is nothing a person can ask us or request us, we have provided every information.
How they
public.
determine? How they determine that?
Okay.
If they can determine for sure, yes, we publish everything, they can put this as a decision. You remember when we said in the data governance, data management decision register. This is one of the specification. If they are sure and if the top management are agree to this and everyone is agreeing, they can like document this, but they must be sure.
Okay. Got it.
To be in the safe side.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to ask for tomorrow's session. It will be on the PDPL training, okay, and I will be giving that training. But I have a client meeting scheduled at 10 a.m. So would it be possible for everyone if we move the training by 1 hour to 11 a.m. Saudi time? Or does anyone have an issue with that?
To me, it's fine.